Thanks for staying with us. Now, our next guest is making his debut as an author with a story unlike any other part-time artist to swap the canvas for cozy crime, and he's here with his new book. It's Doocey Half-Sees Whodunnit.
Yes, author Tom McAndrew is in with us now to tell us all about the detective inspired by his own journey living with sight loss. A very good morning to you, Tom.
Good morning, Karen.
Good to see you. And you're still wearing your colours of pride.
Definitely, yeah.
Look
it's
at
a
that.
great time to be a Mayo man, you know. I've timed this very well. I was actually born in 1975, so it was a good omen. So it's 75 years since they won it last. So I was thinking it was going to be this year for sure. So yeah, it's all coming together now, I think.
Great celebration.
Yeah, you must be on cloud nine.
I can't
Like, it's
believe
a lift for the whole country.
Like, I'm not an
especially.
expert in football, but I love it. Like, and those lads are really inspirational. They're so young and they don't have any fear or anything. I love that about them. And Ryan O'Donoghue is actually a local. He's just down the road from us. My sister taught him in school, and he's a teacher now himself, and he's a great guy too, you know, down there. So it's great celebrations.
Great celebrations. And as I say, they'll be continuing for a while,
indeed.
So you might get down to them.
Yeah.
So, Doocey Half-Sees Whodunnit. Tell us about the book.
Yeah, it's about this little scruffy little fella. If I describe him, he's got a big cool of white hair, a bit like myself. I've kind of based a lot of him on myself. He's kind of an underdog character, and people don't take him really seriously, you know. He's a bit too like, I don't know if you remember Columbo on TV.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Scruffy
The white Mac. The scruffy white
but
Mac.
this guy's got an anorak, and I kind of based that, I don't know, should I say, but from Bertie's, he used to always wear the anorak. So I'm thinking of that, but I made it a lot scruffier. And he goes around and he's talking to people and he's listening all the time. And the thing about him, he's got really bad eyesight, and that's something from myself too. So he's a really good listener. And the idea came from, I was always thinking of Poirot, and you know, Agatha Christie is saying that Poirot has to solve the crime with his little grey cells. And I was saying, well, what if we had a detective that actually couldn't see? Would he be able to solve the crime? So that's the kind of inspiration for him. He has to solve it with his mind's eye. So he gets this big case. A crime writer's wife has disappeared, and he has to find out what's happened to her. And unfortunately, then he starts losing his sight just as he gets the big case. But he's a real kind of, he looks on the bright side of life, and he doesn't let that interfere with him. And he said, I'm going to get on with this. And he keeps it hidden from his bosses, who are not very nice people. And he gets his own, you know, revenge. I won't give away the ending, but it's a
we obviously won't. No.
Yeah. And talk about getting on with it. That's been your experience of living with eyesight. Tell us, you were born with poor eyesight, and did it deteriorate?
I wouldn't overstate it. I had really bad eyesight when I was younger. Since I was 4, I started wearing glasses, and then as I grew older, they got thicker and thicker and thicker. And a high prescription would be -7, but I was -24, so I went in on spades, you know. So, and then that affects the back of the eye, which is the issues I have. But thank God with technologies now, it's actually improving a lot, and you know, there's things there happening, and I'm very positive about it, and I don't let it stop me doing stuff, you know. It's just.
So when you decided to write the book, was it always going to be about this? Was that the idea, like that because it's such a lovely, it's a lovely twist on it that the detective is visually impaired, and then but he's solving the crime. So is it the hearing then? Because they say if one thing goes, the other thing comes up. So if you've got super hearing, has the detective got super hearing?
Well, actually, you have very good hearing. My wife says my hearing is too bloody good, you know, because you can hear things a mile away. And the things like a little thing about me is, for some reason, I have that, you know, people eating, I can hear them a mile away. It drives me bad. I have to go into the next room, you know. So I think your senses are developed a little bit more. But it's a good question, because Doocey is actually my mother's maiden name, and it's the two words are do and see. So it was like it was meant to be honest with you, when I was thinking of the detective. But I didn't think of that name for a while. I didn't realize actually that rhymes with my character, and it's there. And then I said it's easier to write about what you know. So a lot of it, and as the auditor, I'm an auditor too, so I ask a lot of questions, and detectives ask a lot of questions, and I've got the sight issue. So I think it's kind of realistic. Some people have said, actually, were you a real detective? I said, no. Another person said to me, you're the new Jessica Fletcher of the village, you know. And I'm not sure if I've been compared to a little old lady, you know, but I'll take that.
But actually, I haven't gotten a chance to read your book.
Yeah.
But it does from what I've learned about it, I feel like it's kind of like a Richard Osman kind of. As in there's a coziness and there's a humour to it. Did you want that? It wasn't going to be a dark detective novel.
Exactly. I think it's even better in terms of Irish humour, because I think Irish people have a lot of humour, and I want every sentence to have humour. I find books that are humorous are the ones that make me turn the page, or that I really enjoy. Another one I love is Anthony Horowitz, and he incorporates himself into the book as this kind of sidekick to his detective. So actually, I got in contact with him, and he said he's going to do an interview next year with me. So this guy is world famous, Sir Anthony Horowitz. So I'm so delighted with that.
Great opportunity.
It's so clever to do what you've done with it, because have that little twist in it. And this is not the end, because you're looking at maybe a trio of this.
Yeah, so it's a little bit like, I think people are interested in it because I'm on a journey. I'm trying to become a writer because my eyesight is not the best. So I was saying, what can I do? I had an operation in my eyes recently, and I was saying to myself, God, I'm not good at doing nothing and sitting at home, and I've got 2 young kids, and I want to do something that'll make them proud. So I was saying to myself, well, you know, what can I do that that I can't maybe do the detail work. But I said auditing or writing is a good one, because you can look at the screen, you can zoom it up, and you can do text to speech.
Congratulations, Tom McAndrew. Doocey Half-Sees Whodunnit.
It's out now. The start of 3. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Beautiful cover as well. And coming up on tomorrow's Ireland AM.
We're over here. There you go.
We'll start again. Coming up on tomorrow's Ireland AM, journalist, broadcaster and best-selling author Vicky Notaro joins us to chat about her latest book.
Former Strictly Come Dancing champion Joanne Clifton is here to chat about starring in the stage production Fawlty Towers.
Oh yeah, I'm going to see it tonight.
Amazing.
All that plus your news, sport and whether you're waking up. Join us for Wednesday's Ireland AM from 7. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
And stick with us on Virgin Media 1 and don't do that.
I don't think we'll have time.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.